going on, everyone? I'm your host, Riker, and you're listening to the House of Horizons, where we elevate ROD life. Today, I have a special guest with me. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Connor Simon. I'm a process improvement associate at a Fortune 500 company, Smurfit Westrock, where I focus on operational excellence and cost savings projects. I'm also a senior at Missouri State University. I study data analytics. And on the side, I'm building a e-commerce startup called Profy. And it's been an exciting journey and balancing all these ventures. And I'm excited to be here and talking with you today about growth and positivity.
Yeah, that's perfect. And for for everyone out there listening, we met through his Connor's father, who is one of my teachers. Um, I moved to Missouri about 2.5 years ago, and I remember walking in, meeting all my teachers on one of the first days with my mom, and we both met Dr. Simon. We both really liked Dr. Simon, and ever since I've had one of his classes each year. Absolutely loved it, and he told me I should get you on an episode. So I was like, I'm totally for it. Let's do it.
Yeah. He's a great guy, and I'm glad you appreciate him as a teacher because he's a good dad, and yeah, does many things. I'm sure you've heard all of it, and he's pretty interesting. Um, but yeah, that's great. I'm glad you like him.
Yeah, he's the reason I got into podcasting for everyone out there and for yourself. Um, he's the broadcasting advisor at the high school and does a couple other things, and he just has all this recording equipment, stuff that he doesn't really use. And he's like, this stuff's for you guys. You can use it whenever you want. Um, and one day, about almost probably 6 months ago, I went up to my best friend and I was like, hey, we're starting a podcast. And he looks at me and just most nonchalant face ever and was like, okay. And then we started our own podcast, and then I started doing this the beginning of the year, and I just love it. It's
Yeah,
just something that's fun to me, so I enjoy doing it.
I mean, and that's the most important part is just getting started. Starting is probably the hardest part. A lot of people they just want to talk and I'll do this tomorrow, I'll do this the next day. And you took the initiative to go ahead and start, and so that's awesome, and I'm happy to see where this goes.
I appreciate that. And I touched on that in one of I think it was the episode I dropped today, was just talking about starting, because that's a struggle for some people, and just starting and keep going. But I feel like once you start, it's easy to keep going.
Yeah.
Um, and that leads me into my first question. What made you start this drop shipping business that I've been hearing about? And
Yeah. So honestly, one day I just wanted to do something different. I got into the habit of going to my job, coming home, and not being. I felt like there's something more I could do, something I could do to improve my life. And I always like to stay busy. And one of my buddies brought up, and we were just talking about different business ventures that we could do. Just at lunch, just talking about ideas. And one of the ideas that came up was drop shipping. And so I was like, okay, like this is cool. I've heard about it. I have TikTok, I have Instagram. I've heard of drop shipping before. And the one of the things that really drew me in was you can start with little to no money. And that was another thing was capital. I don't have a lot of capital to just throw on a business, especially with super high risk. And that's one of the things about drop shipping is there's not really a lot of risk. I mean, you just no pun intended, just drop in, and you just get started. You start learning, and luckily, I found a mentor to help us out, and he kind of taught us the ways of drop shipping. And so just really just getting it started was the fun part, and just learning and I'm learning more every single day. I've been doing it for about 4.5 months now. We have several products and several brands, and it's just fun. It just keeps me going, and yeah, I just wanted to do something different. And drop shipping really drew me in with the no capital investment or little capital, and we can talk about that later if you want. But yeah, that's what really drew me in.
That's awesome. I feel like for us guys at least, I don't know how it is on the girls aspect of it, but you have an idea, you go talk to your buddy, and your buddy's like, yeah, and then that's when you just sit down, you realize the logistics of everything. Is this actually possible? How are we gonna do it? And then all of a sudden, you just start doing it, and I feel like that's
Yeah, yeah,
exactly what
no,
you
no,
did.
for sure. And that's one of the things that was great about it is we both were talking about it. I mean, um, kind of in the same sense of what you're doing is, creating a Google Doc, sharing it with each other, writing down ideas, studying anything that we're learning. We put it in there, and we just kind of just strive for continuous improvement. And every day we try to get better. And that's also one of the things that I love about this podcast is just talking about getting better because it's so important. I know a lot of people and a lot of friends who feel stuck. They feel like they can't do something. Um, and one of the things I always try to preach to them and give them advice on is, just start getting after it. Just take it one day at a time. Even if that's spending 30 minutes looking into, for example, how to drop ship. That's better than just talking about that you're going to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. Um, and just the goal of this show is to elevate our everyday lives, be 1% better each day. How do you how would you say that you elevate your life for yourself and the people around you, whether it be in work, school, around your friends with this drop shipping business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the hardest part is consistency. So if you really break it down, improving by 1% sounds simple, but when life gets hectic, it's easy to get overwhelmed or you feel like you're stuck. So balancing work and my startup can sometimes be hectic, but also have to remind myself that progress isn't always linear, right? I've learned that prioritizing and being intentional with my time is key, and so focusing on what really matters every day helps me keep moving forward, and even if that's just one step at a time.
Yeah, that's great. And I've challenged. Um, I feel like I'm going to be saying this a lot, but I challenge my friends to be 1% better each day,
Great.
whether it like in school, their job, at home, whatever it is, like even their sport. And I feel like it all comes down to consistency, like you say. You just got to be consistent with everything and your intention. Like, what are you trying to get out of it? So I feel like
Yeah.
the intent part is kind of missing around my generation, but I feel like once people figure out what they really want, they try to figure out what their intent is with each thing that they do. So, and I was lucky. I kind of have a really good idea of what I want to do. So my intent's there. So
Yeah, I heard that you have a cheesecake business.
I do. Yeah. Um, that's a story. I enjoy doing that a lot. I think this is gonna be new for all of you guys watching in, but I haven't really talked about it or about it that much just in my introduction video. Um, but when I moved here, moving's expensive, playing
Hmm.
baseball's expensive. You just got to figure out a way to like start paying for things. And being a student athlete, it's kind of hard to hold a real stable job. with everything that you got going on.
Oh yeah.
8 hours in school, 2 hours after school with your sport, any homework, family time stuff. So I feel like holding a job was kind of hard, and I always liked the idea of working for myself. So before we moved, my mom always made these no bake cheesecakes, and so I asked her how to make them,
Okay.
and she showed me how to make them, and then I literally the next day I asked her, "Hey, can I make this a business?" And she goes, "Sure. I don't care." And that's how that started. The name is Riker's Cheesecake Tavern. That is props to my neighbor across the street. Um, he told me that I should name it that, and I just took it and went with it. I started with probably 4 flavors, and I'm up to like 20 some flavors now.
Wow.
So
Yeah. I mean, I want to try these cheesecakes.
your dad has bought plenty, whether it's for himself or other people, the faculty at the high school, but he has bought plenty, and he loves them. So maybe he'll have to get one when you guys see each other next. So.
Awesome. Yeah. How do you primarily sell them? Like over Facebook, or just word through mouth, or do you have a website or something?
So I have a Instagram that I need to get better at posting on, but most of my stuff is a Facebook group, um, and then order form is just straight up Google form, um, and then I'll
Nice.
just main thing I collect is their phone number, and then I'll text them and be like, "Hey, so and so, this is Riker of Riker's Cheesecake Tavern. Got your order. When's a good time to deliver? Because I do deliveries too. Because renting a building is too expensive,
Oh yeah.
so it's all from the home. But I enjoy doing it a lot. So
Nice. Have you ever? Is it just like deliveries and in person meetups, or do you ship them?
um, I've
I don't know
there's
how
this
that would
one
go.
yeah there's this one person that keeps asking, "Hey, can you send a cheesecake out to one of my old teammates?" And I'm just like, I mean, I could, but I don't really know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how expensive that would be, but I'm just like, I don't know. Um, but I'm lucky to like my area is pretty big and it's all within 20 minutes of each other. I don't know if you know this area pretty well, but it's you got a couple of bigger towns than Smithville. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
I'm pretty sure Smithville is close to Kansas City, right? Like
yeah,
pretty close.
it's like 10 minutes from the Kansas
Yeah.
City border, so it's right there. But then you just got we're sandwiched in between our two rival schools, and I sell in both of those cities too.
Wow.
So from going to my 43 home neighborhood out to bigger cities with multiple high schools is crazy, and I've been able to manage that really well. So I'm grateful to have that opportunity, and then doing what I'm doing with podcasting too. So
Yeah. So I got a couple questions. I'm sure you meet a ton of people doing that. Do you ever try to, like, for example, when they do purchase a cheesecake, you said that you grab their email. Do you ever like send out ads or send out kind of like emails to them?
I did that in the past. Um, when like my Instagram following wasn't high and my Facebook group didn't have a lot of members.
Hmm.
Um, but like I would just send out a mass text message or an email saying, "Hey, this is the promotion I got going on. Great deal, this, that, and the other," and just try to sell it. Um, but now that I've got a bigger following, it's just mainly social media now. So I kind of
Yeah.
just stick with that. Um, and I'm actually going live. I should be going live tonight, but I might push it to tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
got to
man.
promote the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. Get your
Oh yeah.
cheesecakes, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's to tie it into drop shipping a little bit. I mean, that's one of the things in drop shipping is you come up with some sort of offer whether that's 50% off, free shipping, buy one get one, some sort of offer to entice them to buy. And so that's great that you're already experimenting with that, because I mean it's super important to come up with some sort of offer to entice your customers.
Yeah, and I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of great people who have their own businesses too. I've done a couple of pop-up things for the high school, another small business here in Smithville, um, another small business over in one of our rival towns. So I a lot of positive feedback from other small business owners. So
Oh yeah,
I love it. So
yeah, that's awesome, man.
um, jumping into the next question. Um, we all have bad days, but like you don't have to let the like smallest thing ruin your day, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
How like if you have a small inconvenience, how do you just try to get over it to continue having a good day, and how do you handle having an actual bad day?
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a great question. So, I mean, bad days happen to everyone, but I think the key is to not let them snowball. For me, it's, taking a walk or listening to music or just stepping away from my desk. I also remind myself of the bigger picture. So if it's work related issue, I focus on finding a solution rather than dwelling on the problem. And another thing is gratitude. So I'll take a moment to appreciate what's going on, and what's going well, and try to shift my perspective, and that can really turn things around. And really just highlighting, not dwelling on the problem, and to always stay positive. And everyone's going to have your bad days. I mean, we're all human, but to make sure that you keep that confidence and that bigger picture in mind is super important.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like there's always something that you can do when you have a bad day, and like you said, just don't let it snowball. Um, and there's different things that people could do, but I feel like one that everybody I know comes back to is always music when you're having a bad day.
Oh yeah.
Music just changes your mood. It's great. That's what I do the most. And my Apple Music recap from last year would tell you the same thing. I
Yeah.
listen to way too much music, but
And then you'll
uh,
see, during the winter you have this vibe, and then during the summer it's this vibe. It's yep. No, I get that.
yeah, you discover songs that you forgot existed, and
Yep.
then that becomes your top song of the month.
Yep.
That's happened a couple times. Um, so you're in college, you have a job, you got a drop shipping business. What is your biggest, I guess, what do you try to do to be that positive impact with your peers around you?
So, you know, that's a good question. Um, I would say, going back to earlier, it starts with having a mindset of continuous improvement, whether that's with relationships. But I try to approach every day with 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 the opportunity to grow, whether it's learning something new, tackling new challenges, or for me, building a small business. Every small win counts. And I like organizing my day. I like writing down things, and my joy is finishing the task and marking it out. And if you just do these little things, they all add up. And that's one of the biggest things I want to say is, just start writing down things. Start writing down things and speaking it into existence. And that's the thing with goal setting also, is write down your goals. Keep those goals close to you. I we all have phones. You can put it in your notes app. For me, I like pen and paper, but notes app, just get it on paper and start speaking into existence. And keeping that positive mindset, and you'll affect everyone around you. Positivity is contagious, and if you come in every day and you have a good mood and you're ready to tackle the day, you treat it like another opportunity to grow. I mean, people are going to gravitate towards you.
100%. I love the manifesting. I'm a big believer on manifesting everything into existence.
Oh yeah.
Um, unlike you, I'm not the type to write my goals down pen and paper, nor am I the type to just put them in my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I set a goal, I keep it in the back of my mind, and I go get it. And if I don't achieve it by the end of the month, then it's just what. Then I'll have a moment of self reflect. What could I do better? Why didn't I achieve this goal? And then I'll set a new goal for the next month. I do monthly goals, so
No,
that's
that's awesome. That's great. I mean, just keeping those goals in mind is super important. And also, maybe for the next month, you could write steps to get to that goal. How am I? Ask yourself, how am I going to get to this goal? And kind of outline some steps that you need to take. For example, if it's increasing your podcast viewership to this amount, what what can I do to um, achieve this goal? And just think about the steps to get there.
100%. And I feel like some of my friends hate me for it, but when I have a goal or my aspirations are set up here and they're down here, I'll just tell them over and over again what my goal is. This is what I want to do, and they're just like, sometimes they'll tell me, "Okay, that's enough. You can stop telling us because you keep telling us." Or they're just like, "Okay, what have you done to achieve the goal?" Kind of holding me accountable for it.
Man, that's so important. That's
So
awesome.
I think accountability, like telling people your goals too, is important because it's their job to hold you accountable for it. And I feel like accountability comes down to yourself, the people around you, and anything you do in life, whether it be school, business ventures, work.
Oh yeah, no, definitely accountability is super important. It's honestly a pillar to success. You got to keep yourself accountability. You got to keep yourself accountable. Sorry about that. And you got to just make sure that you attack every day and you get after it. And keeping a close circle of like-minded friends is also important too. I have a couple friends, for example, this one that I'm in the Profy business venture with, and we text each other literally every morning, and we're like, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do." I send him like a inspirational quote, and we get our day started like that. And it's just these little things that add up, and keep us motivated and keep us going.
Yeah, 100%. Um, One of my final questions: what is the hardest thing about being 1% better um, in everything that you do? Because, like you said, 1% seems very small, but when you really think about it, getting down to the nitty gritty of it, it's a lot day by day. So, what do you do to, or what's the hardest thing about being 1% better each day?
Yeah, that's another great question. I mean, for me, it just comes back to consistency. It's for the gym, for relationships, for your business, whatever it is, you just got to keep consistent. You got to keep the goal in mind, the end goal, and what steps do you have to take to get there. And so that's probably the hardest thing, is just keeping consistent. I know a lot of people that get going with things, and maybe they're super adamant about it for a month and then they quit. But if they would have just kept going, who knows? They could have done something great. So it's just keeping consistent and keeping those goals in mind. That's something that is super hard, and it's way easier said than done. But if you can just be consistent, whether that's 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, whatever goal you want to achieve, if you can just keep consistent with it and attack it every day, I mean, the universe is going to reward you one way or another. So
Yeah. Um, you're obviously a few years older than me. So what would you give someone around my age that struggles with consistency? If like this can be like stuff you've experienced or what you personally have been around, but like what do you see people struggle with the most with consistency?
wow. So it's like I'm trying to speak to you like I'm speaking to my high school self, because I'm a senior in college. I'm only got a year left, and so my piece of advice would be to get a routine going. Wake up every morning, do something, whether that's eat breakfast or make your bed or you know turn on a podcast and listen to 15 minutes, read a little bit of your book. Just get something, once again, consistent that you can do every day. And I would say the mornings, waking up early is super important. Just getting your mind right. And eat, say you have to leave your house at 8 and you usually wake up 30 minutes before. Try waking up an hour and kind of getting into what they call the flow state, where you're working on something for a little bit. And if you do this day by day, every day, you'll see the reward and the benefit over time. And this goes again to nightly routines. When you come home, what are you doing? Are you going on your phone and doom scrolling TikTok? Or are you trying to get 1% better and trying to take these steps and reach your end goal? And so I would say get a routine going and be consistent. For me, it's, waking up early, getting a good breakfast, going to work, going to gym, then coming home, taking a shower, researching, and trying to better myself and the business I'm a part of by researching and optimizing our websites and just getting a routine going. And then 2 weeks, a month later, you're like, hey, like if I'm not doing this doesn't feel normal. This doesn't feel right. And eventually you'll hit your goal. And so I would say definitely get a routine going if you can. It's super hard. First day, it's going to be like something abnormal, something different. But then you keep going, and boom, it's your new normal, and you feel great when you have a routine. So yeah, that's the piece of advice I'd give.
Perfect. That was a lot of good stuff. We talked about being 1% better, the struggles of being 1% better, consistency, a little bit about confidence.
Hmm.
Um, is there any last remarks that you would
You
like?
you know, I would like to end with a quote if I could. So this is something that me and my buddy put in our, or my buddy and I put in our Google Doc, and it's at the very top in bold letters, and it's, I'm not a product of my circumstances. I'm a product of my decisions. And this is just something that you can think about, and your viewers can think about, is that you control what you can do. You know, if it's outside of your control, don't think about it. You don't have an effect on it. Just control what you can, and you'll become whatever your decisions are. So just trying to get better day by day, and you will get better. So yeah, that's what I would like to end on. I appreciate you having me, and this is a lot of fun. And hopefully, I can come back some other time. We can talk some more. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being on. We I feel like we had a really good conversation, something that my viewers would like. So I appreciate
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me.